Title: Shadows of the Towers. Amidst the towering skyscrapers of New York City, where the sky touches the ground, there lies a place where memories are alive. This is the place where a dark chapter in world history was written, the World Trade Center. It is the place where two colossal buildings once stood, and today, a memorial marks their memory. Every step here holds a story, every wall hides a secret. But some stories are neither heard nor seen, the shadows that were once part of the past still linger there. Sarah Khan was an investigative journalist, tasked with uncovering the truth and bringing it to the people. She didn't believe in the supernatural. But when she was assigned to write an article about the World Trade Center, she had no idea she was about to embark on a journey that would change her life forever. The story begins on a cold winter morning. The sky was clear, the sun was shining, and the new One World Trade Center gleamed, a symbol of determination and hope. Sarah met with Carl, an elderly man who managed the building. Carl had been working there when the tragedy occurred. He had witnessed the horrific events of that day with his own eyes, and since then, he had felt a strange calmness and eeriness in the place. He was about to tell her about the building, but with it, some things that would alter the course of Sarah's story. People who work here often complain of strange occurrences, Carl said to Sarah as they stood in the elevator. They hear voices, like someone is near them, but no one is there. Sarah didn't take Carl's words seriously. She thought it was all just folklore, the product of fear. But when she reached the 70th floor, she felt something strange. The atmosphere was heavy, as if something was present in the air, something unseen, but felt. Carl led her into an empty room. The view was breathtaking, the sight of New York City, but Sarah's focus was on the silence within the room. This is where people see the strangest things, Carl said in a low voice. Shadows, voices, and sometimes faces that appear out of nowhere. Sarah's heart began to race, but she tried to ignore her fear. She reminded herself that she was a journalist, and she believed in facts, not stories. But as she took a step forward, a cold breeze brushed against her face. For a moment, Sarah saw a shadow in the air. It was a faint figure, as if someone was standing there, but when she looked closer, there was nothing. But Carl's face was pale with fear. Did you see it? Carl asked, his voice trembling. A wave of fear surged through Sarah's heart. Yes, she replied quietly. Sarah's mind was racing. Was this all just her imagination, or was there really something there? Carl told her that the shadows were the spirits of those who had lost their lives in the tragedy. They are here because they have nowhere else to go, Carl said. Their souls are still bound to this place because their stories remain unfinished. A strange burden weighed on Sarah's heart. She knew she had to delve deeper into this mystery. The next day, Sarah spoke with people who had experienced strange occurrences inside the building. They told her that while working late at night, they would hear odd noises. Some mentioned seeing reflections in the mirrors, but when they turned around, no one was there. Sarah's curiosity grew, but so did her fear. One night, Sarah decided she would stay in the building overnight to uncover the truth behind these stories. She brought a small camera and audio recorder with her. She began exploring different parts of the building. At first, everything seemed normal. But as the night deepened, the atmosphere started to change. Sarah felt as though someone was watching her. Someone who was there but invisible. Suddenly, she heard a faint sound coming from behind a door. She cautiously approached the door. It was slightly ajar, revealing an empty room behind it. But Sarah didn't close the door. She knew she had to get to the bottom of this. At that moment, Sarah saw a shadow. It was a human figure, but completely black, as if it were enveloped in darkness. Sarah's heart pounded. She knew this wasn't an ordinary person. These were the same shadows people had spoken about. Sarah turned on her camera, but nothing appeared on the screen. However, before her very eyes, the shadow slowly faded away. After that night, Sarah's life changed. She realized that she wasn't just there to write a story, but to confront a truth. She continued her investigation and spoke with more people. She learned everything she could about those who had lost their lives in the tragedy. She understood that the shadows were not just ghosts, but memories of the people who had spent their last moments in that building. Sarah finished her report. But it wasn't just about the building's construction and development. It was also the story of the people who had lost their lives in the tragedy, and the spirits that still resided within its walls. Sarah concluded her report with an important message. This building is a memorial, not just for those who lost their lives, but for those who are still present here. We must keep their memories alive, and we must never forget their stories. Sarah's report shocked people. She reminded them that the past cannot be forgotten, nor can the sacrifices of those who perished in the tragedy. This story was a lesson, a reminder that we can never ignore our history. We must acknowledge the past, and honor those who tied their lives to the foundations of this building. And perhaps, if we keep their memories alive, the shadows that wander this building will finally find peace. This story teaches us that the past should never be forgotten. We must value our history and remember the sacrifices of those who gave their lives for us. Their memories and stories always remind us of how precious life is, and we must cherish it.